welcome to part 6 of the Enterprise build-up. Work continues on the Shuttlebay. Managed to get all of the decals in place now for the cargo area. So that's what they're looking like on that side, and strangely enough, they're exactly the same on the other side as well. And then we've also got the ones on the back there as well, on the back wall. So they're all in. The only thing that I've really got left to do on these is get the get this little bit painted here. That needs to be the same colour as this. So what I'm going to need to do is just go in, paint that white, and then I can just go over it with the ivory. For some reason the ivory just doesn't like to cover that well, so it's always best just put a white base down on it first. The other thing that I've done as well is I've got the decals on place for the Arboretum wall, ceiling, sorry. I've also, as you can see, painted the ceiling on that with the Tamiya clear blue. Didn't occur to me to do that, to be quite honest, but then I was watching quite some time ago actually a video from Jason Marshall when he was doing his refit build, and I noticed that on the camera the Arboretum windows had a slight blue haze from them. So I did sort of ask him how he did that, and he just responded and said that it was the clear blue from Tamiya. So that's fantastic. So that's how I've done mine. So thanks for that tip, Jason. Much appreciated. Hopefully my windows will look blue as well by the time we've got everything in. What I'll do is I'll post a little video up as not a video, sorry, a little picture of the windows from the Arboretum as well, so you can see how they look. So that should be on screen now. So yeah, the only thing I've got left to do really, once I've got those little bits on there painted in the ivory colour, all I need to do then is just go over absolutely everything with a light sheen clear coat, just to get everything into the same sort of sheen really, because this is a matte coat. The green is actually matte and the ivory is a silver colour, so I'd rather get them all in the same sort of shade really, rather than having gloss and matte in the same areas. Just make them look a little bit better. The other thing that I've been working on is the LEDs, sorry, not the LEDs, the SMDs for the Shuttlebay chaser lights. So they're the amber ones that I've done. I've just given those a couple of coats of the Tamiya clear orange. So they're looking good. We've also got the ones for the red ones, sorry, for the end. If we can try and get those into focus. They are really tiny and difficult to see, these things. It surprises me that we can actually work with them. So there you go, you can see them a little bit there. So that's those done. I might need to, once the red ones are gone in, for some reason I normally find that once you put the red ones in and you glue them in place, they kind of get washed out a little bit, and the light source comes through and they're slightly pinkish. So once they're in place, what I'm going to need to do is just sort of turn them on and see, and if they are slightly pinkish, it's not a problem. I can just get a little dobble of the Tamiya and put it down the hole for the light source, and that will then turn it back to a red again. So that's kind of cool. So I haven't really got a lot of work left to do. The only thing I've really got there at the moment, the only thing that I've got left that I can really concentrate on at this present moment in time is just getting the rest of that painted in the aluminium. Because I can't do anything with these now until the decals are fully dried, so it's going to be sort of tomorrow really before I can actually start spraying those down. So I'll get that done, and then I think what I'm going to do is just turn my attention back to the Arboretum that's going into the cross section and get that finished off. There's no point in me going through anything on that with you, because you've seen it all already in the previous updates for this. So yeah, that's about it for the moment. I think I will come back to you as soon as I've made some more progress on this. So the clear coat is actually dried now on the Shuttlebay, as you can see. Well, you can't see it because it's a clear coat, so that would be a bit silly, but you can see there that we've got a nice shine on there. So I need to now put the SMDs in there now for the chaser sequence lights. So I'm going to start at the back end with the yellow ones and then work on to the amber ones and then do all of the white ones after that. Things that we need really is some super glue. I prefer to use Gorilla super glue, the gel one. Reason why I tend to use this, I think it's really the same reason as Chris Cortell, and that's because it's got a little bit of silicone in there, so it's a little bit more flexible, it's a little bit more forgiving, so it's not as brittle as normal super glue. So really, the other thing that we need as well is some toothpicks, but I've run out and the shop hasn't got any. So what I've done is I've just got a couple of matches and just really basically fashioned the end into matchsticks. Sorry, not matchsticks, into toothpicks. So basically this is one of the SMDs that I prepared earlier on with the paint. Now one of the things that I really want to do with these is make sure that I've got all of the wires kind of facing towards the back really, rather than sort of like all over the place. I don't want them facing forward because we've obviously got the back of the the back of the Shuttlebay at this end, so we don't want them facing that way. It's always best to have them facing that way. We need to get the bulb really on the little hole. So one of the things that I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to dab a little bit of this super glue onto my matchstick really, more than anything else, because you don't need like huge amounts of this stuff. So I'm just going to double a bit on the end of that, and then I'm just going to put it onto the edge of the hole there. Then I'm going to get my bulb, or my SMD should I say, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky. You have to kind of muck about a little bit, and once you've then got that in place, I don't actually have any zip kicker. I keep on forgetting to buy it because I'm stupid, but you can see there that's actually gone down now. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little bit of super glue over the edge of the wires like so, if you can see there, and basically all that's going to do is that's going to anchor the SMD into place. Now I'm happy with the way that looks, so I'm just going to carry on and get the next one done. It's really, as I say, I mean, this is quite a simple job. It's just tedious really, it's just a little bit time consuming, to be honest, but you know, it's just one of those jobs, it's got to be done. So I've still got a little bit of super glue on the end of me matchstick, and then I'm just going to make sure that I have got the right end on there, and then I'm just going to plonk that on there like so. That's it, and then I'll just get a little bit more super glue off the top of the bottle there, just so I can spread that onto the wires. And what that does, by putting the super glue onto the wires like that, it does actually anchor them to it, because these wires are quite fragile, and it does actually give a bit more support to the SMD, and it just basically ensures that you're not actually going to rip out the wires at all. That was a bit too much, because these, as I say, these wires are really thin, and the connectors on the back of the SMDs are really thin, so you've only got a teeny tiny amount of solder on the back of these holding them in, you know. So by putting a little bit of extra super glue over the wires, you're actually holding everything in place, and you can ensure then that way that you're not going to sort of rip those wires out accidentally and then have to go back and start replacing all your SMDs. So that's basically how you do that. I'm not going to sit there and do every single one of those in front of you, because you're going to get a bit bored after that, but hopefully that kind of gives you a good idea of how you really kind of need to put an SMD onto a surface like that. What I'll do, once I've got all of those in, I will get my circuit board out and we can take a look at those. Sorry, not my circuit board, I'll get the bench power supply out, and then we can turn that down to sort of 2 volts, so we don't burn the SMDs out without a resistor. And then we can just take a quick look at these with the lights on. So as soon as I got the rest of these done, I will come back to you. Got the SMDs in place now. It is shown that 3 of the SMDs aren't working, but they all do work. I've basically tested them all individually, which took a little while because there is 18 of them there. I basically had them all hooked up to a 1K resistor just to test them to make sure that they were working, and every single one of them did light up, so there's not a problem there. The reason why we've at the moment got 3 not working is because the magnet wire that's attached to these SMDs does have a lacquer coating, so it's kind of stopping getting a proper contact. What would normally happen with these is that you would tin the end of the magnet wire, and that would burn away the lacquer coating. But I haven't done that. All I did was basically just run a lighter over the end of it to get some of the coating off, so I could just test the individual bulbs to see if they were working. And then of course what I've done is I've then bundled all the wires together to get them all working, and we've then got 3 wires that aren't making proper contact, so you know the electricity just can't flow through them. It wouldn't surprise me, actually, to be quite honest, as well, if it was also the resistor stopping it, because at the moment I do have all of these resisted at 10k. I've got them all hooked up to a 10k resistor. That's why they're looking so dim. But I don't really want to take it any further, because the magnet wire that's on the back of these wires, they're in 2 different lengths. You've got a long one, which is for the positive, and then you've got a shorter one, which is for the negative. And if I start mucking about with the wires on these, I'm then going to start shortening them. And because I've got basically 32 wires on the back of this, I don't really want to be sitting there doing that, because I'm then at the end of the day not going to tell or be able to tell which one is the positive and which one is the negative. So I don't have to strip it all out and then do it all again, which is what I don't want to do. So I've just left it as is. When the circuit board comes in, I'll be able to test this properly, and then we'll also be able to see the chase sequence going on that as well. So when the board is in, I just hook them all up temporarily to the board so we can see exactly what they look like. But at the moment it's not looking too bad, and if I get the torch you'll be able to see the general effect that we're going for as well with the lights. So you can see there, let's just get that torch there, you can see with the yellow lines as well, that the effect there is actually going to look quite good when it's all done. So that's where we are at the moment. I'm just going to continue working on the rest of the Shuttlebay at the moment. There's still a few little jobs that need to be done on that before this whole thing gets completely buttoned up. I'm not going to do that until such time that I've tested the chaser lights on the board itself. But there's a little bit of work that needs to be done to the Shuttlebay anyway, so I might as well just carry on doing that. I've also got the cross section of the Shuttlebay as well that I need to be working on, and that's actually slowly evolving, and that's actually turning into a pretty major project itself actually as well. You know, there's things that are happening, and I'm thinking, oh yeah, well, it'd be good to do this, and other people have said, oh well, if you're doing that, Rich, you might as well do this with it too. So I've added that to it, and then, you know, spoke to somebody else about it and explained what's going on and what else has been added, and they're going, that looks great, why not do this too, because that'll look even better. So, you know, it's kind of spiraling out of control almost, but hey ho, never mind. When it's done, it's going to look fantastic, and you'll see that evolve as we go through as well. What I'll do is I'll do a separate video on that, so you kind of get the whole idea of what we're actually doing and what I'm trying to achieve with that. It's something that I've never seen before, to be quite honest. I don't think anybody else would have seen it, so hopefully from that point of view it's going to be totally original. But that's about it for the moment. I'm going to carry on, get some more work done on this wee beastie, and I will catch up with you as soon as that's done. Got both of the little motion picture Shuttlecraft finished now. And that's what they look like from the sides. And then you've got the front view there, and then you've got the back view there. So the only thing that's left to do to those now really is get the light sheen clear coat on top of those, which is the same that I'm using for the Shuttlebay itself. That will just then help keep the decals in place. It sort of coat those and keep them in. So that's them looking good. Happy with the way that they've come out. Not sure whether I'm going to be using one or both at the moment. If I only use one, that's pretty cool, because the other one can actually just be used in the cross section anyway, so that's not a problem. So I'm liking the way that they turned out. I'm just going to continue on with the Shuttlebay and get the last few bits done to that need to be done. Once that's done, I will come back to you. Whilst I'm waiting for paint to dry, which is never an enjoyable experience for a modeller, I thought I would just go over the cross section that I'm doing as soon as this has evolved quite rapidly and become even more complicated than it was before. I'm not sure at this stage, actually, to be honest, whether it's going to go on the same base as the ship or whether it's going to be on a different base. I'm yet to decide that, really, to be quite honest. But we're still having the cross section as is, as you can see there. We will be putting in the turbo lifts, and hopefully, if you can see the black lines there, these areas will be cut out because we do need to extend. Let's get that back into camera. We do need to extend it so we can have the little base there. Sorry, the little pad for the Shuttlecraft. So we're still doing that. We're still going to have the worker bees in there as well at that end. Not so much here, but we will have a few other little worker bees about. We got some of the photo etched bits and pieces that can go down into this part as well. Might put one of the little worker bees in there with all of the bits and pieces that they carry as well. Obviously, we're going to go for the railings in there as well. Might be cutting out one or two of the doors there as well. I'm not sure at the moment. Still going to open up all the windows there. I'm going to try and get the top section to light up as well. So there's quite a bit of work that needs to go into that bit. We've got the Shuttlecraft there. We've got 4 of them, which is kind of nifty. They've been put together, sprayed once. I just need to go in and fill some seams that I couldn't see before, that I can quite clearly see now. It's funny really, because they're all white anyway to begin with, but I couldn't see where the seams were, and then as soon as I sprayed some white paint down on white, the seams become visible. Weird, but there you go. So yeah, that's the way that is at the moment. I've got the other Arboretum finished for it. So let's have a look at the main event. This is now going to be how the cross section is going to appear. It's kind of grown up a little bit, really, to be honest. So as you can see, we've got the Arboretum, the second Arboretum that I've done in there. I've cut half the glass away for the roof, so I will put the decal on there, spray that blue as well. But I just thought it'd be kind of cool with just half the glass in there. So we've got, as you can see, lots of little people in there. The river's in there. That's still drying at the moment. So you know, it's been done the same sort of way as the previous one, and that's what it kind of looks like from the other side. So yeah, that's going to be that's going to form that section there. Sorry, excuse me. I was originally just going to do the base and this back wall, but then somebody said, well, why don't you put the top on too? So I thought, okay, well, I'll put the top on. Yeah, I can understand why. Which then thought, right, well, if I do that, I've got to put the fantail on, which was great. So that's not a problem. It just needs a little bit of work done to it. So if we can just get this in, this makes it actually a lot easier to get the Shuttlebay in, he says, as he struggles a little bit. So let's just, there we go. So that's kind of in. So that's roughly what it's going to look like. But then you've got all of these little gaps here and the gaps down the sides there and everything, you know, so you can't really, there's a lot of gaps and stuff. So originally what I was going to do was just put some blanking, get some the sheet styrene, make some blanks in there to put those in there. Then somebody else come along with a jolly good idea and said to me, Richard, why don't you build some decks in there? Because you only really need like just the first sort of set of decks really, because you're not really going to go completely into it really with all of the decks, so it's only going to be a sort of one deck only really that you're going to be able to see, and then also the same down this part here. The whole of the front section here is going to be completely blanked off. I'm not going to do anything with that bit. I am going to blank off that bit there and also that bit there. These parts here will be blanked off as well. I was originally going to blank off all of the windows as well, but I've now decided that you know, I will try and get those lit up if it's at all possible, and I will also try and get all of these lights to work as well. So that's kind of altered a bit as well. And then the other thing that's altered as well in my mind is, it's like, if I'm going to be doing all of that work to this, then I might as well do the Aztec detailing on it as well. So I'm going to be doing that as well, and I'm most probably going to see if I can actually get the strong backs on there as well, if I've got a spare set of those. I'm not sure, but I just have to look. If not, then I'll try and paint someone, because I know that the Orbital Dry Dock mask has those in there. So that is kind of where we are with the cross section. As I say, at the moment I'm really not sure as to whether this is going to go on the same stand or not, really, to be quite honest. It might not. I really don't know. But yeah, that's kind of where we are on this. I can't really think of anything else that we need to do. I mean, obviously I'm going to try my best to see if we can get the chaser sequence lights on there as well, and try and get the yellow bits lit up, but I'm not sure whether we are going to be able to do that or not. It just really kind of depends. But yeah, I'm certainly now going to be doing the Aztec detailing on here. As I say, the strong backs, I'll be putting the decals on there as well. Obviously the phaser arrays are going to need to be done as well. So I won't go for any blinky lights on it. There is a blinky light at the bottom, but I think that might actually be covered up by the stand. Still toying on what kind of stand to do this on, really, to be honest. I'm kind of thinking of a perspex stand with two sort of brass rods going down either side, or two chrome rods going down either side, so I can hide the wires in those and it look as though it's just actually framed. And I'm also thinking, if I do go down that route, the base for it, I can actually inscribe some details in there, words or whatever, I'm not sure yet, and actually bottom like that, so that does actually light up as well. But as I say, I really am not sure how this is going to go. If I do this, then it's most probably going to go to the rear of the stand more than sort of being in the front. But yeah, the other thing with this is, at the moment as well, because we're actually missing this side, it is kind of a bit heavy to one side, so it does roll over. So I might need to try and find a way to keep that way as well. I might need to add some weights on this side just to balance it out a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, that's kind of where we are at the moment with this. It gives you a quick rundown of what we're doing. Mad, completely mad, totally and utterly and unequivocally mad. But hey, who cares? In for a penny, in for a pound. It should look quite good. Never seen anything like it before either, so hopefully it should be, you know, if I can pull it off, it'll look, hopefully, fairly original. So So there you go. I'm going to get back to the other kit now, and obviously we'll keep you up to date with the progress on this. As we go through this, I will sort of like, you know, do the filming on it as well. I won't just do this in the sidelines, because I'm pretty sure you'd like to know how this other project within a project within a project is actually going on. So there you go. I'm going to carry on with the main Shuttlebay now, and I'll come back to you as soon as I've got some more progress made to that. Got the last little bits done. Well, I say the last little bits, they're not the last little bits, but I've got the clear coat now on to the Shuttlebay. They're looking quite good. And that's all taken down to the same sort of sheen as well now. So I'm liking the way that they've all turned out. The decals are looking a lot better now for being coated. So I'm happy with the progress on those. There are the little Shuttlecraft as well. So they've been they've had the same treatment. And there's the back end of the Shuttlebay, and that's that done. So I'm really happy with the way that that's turned out. Just now waiting for the lighting kit to come in for these. That should hopefully be with me within a couple of weeks' time. As soon as that's in, I'll be able to test everything, and then as soon as I'm happy with the chaser lights, I'll be able to get the whole thing glued together and then sort out the lights for the turbo lifts. But until then, really, I've still got plenty of work to do on the cross section, so that'll keep me going until such time that all the lights coming in. I don't really want to start on the main body of the ship until such time that I've got all of this buttoned up, really, to be honest. So I just start on the cross section, and as I say, that keep me going. I know this video is most probably getting a bit long now, so I'm going to knock it on the head on this particular update. So I will catch you, I believe, in part 7, where hopefully we'll be doing some work on the cross section one. So until then, thanks for watching, and please do take care.